Alright, hello and welcome back. Well, it will be time to take a look at the A-class Karenina. This is one of those characters that you're going to get early on into the game. And this character is also one of the most important characters for the majority of content in the game. Aesthetically speaking, she does offer a really unique look in the game, and with her 5 outfits, 5 costumes, she does bring a variety in terms of, I guess, player choices, and of course you can choose which costume you like. Well, but I'll choose this one because aesthetically I like it the most. Well then, so like I said before, this character is a class, 80% physical, 20% elemental, in this case fire elemental damage, and her overall performance will be rotating around mob clearing. Of course you can use her against boss battles, but her most performance and her role will be in clearing mobs, so it's really effective against taking out mobs and bosses at the same time, but mostly mobs. Really high mobility and really high area damage. As for the equipment, this is where you can choose either to go full physical or go 80% physical, 20% elemental. In my case, I did go 80% physical, 20% elemental. I'm using the second build stated on that in the second row, and that build so far has been working really good. Now, of course, you can use the 5-star memories. They are mostly recommended, which is also very interesting, but the 6 stars will definitely give you a higher boost. As for the teams, she will work in most teams, since her QT and her attacks are useful for pretty much all structures in the game. Her specialty can be used in mob gathering, which is one of the most important things in the game. And in my team, I'll be using her paired with Alpha and Asliv, because that's the team that I mostly use, and I found that team to be highly effective. Well, these are her stats. You can see the health, damage, defense, critical. They're pretty nice, pretty neat. This is the level hero. She is S class. And on to the skills. Well, her skills are also really interesting. And we're going to start with the red one. Red one will deal 40, 80, 100% of physical damage. The yellow one will do 150, 340, 450% physical damage, marking the target, and attacking the targets that were marked will have a 75% chance to detonate it, dealing 10, 20, 30% of fire damage, which is really interesting for the yellow skill. Pool 1 shoots a gravity bomb that will pull in enemies, and they will take 100 to 300% physical damage, and it will deal 50, 100, 150% of fire damage every second to enemies within the gravity affected area, and it will last 1 to 3 seconds. Basic attack deals 600% of damage. The ultimate will take 100% of energy, and it will bombard the area with the cannon, dealing 100% of physical damage. QT, which is also really important, will shoot a gravity bomb, sucking enemies in and dealing 500% of physical damage. The class specific role is damage increasement by 20%, and the core, which you'll see me using a lot into the actual combat, is also really interesting. After you match at least 9 balls, she will enter in the core state, and you can use her cannon at a longer distance. Really interesting skill, and each shot deals 80% physical damage. The leader will increase attack speed by 10% if all the members are different. The passive, yellow orb explosion damage increased by 50%, and the other passive, marked enemy will have 50% damage against it, and third passive, basic attack, will be increased by 20%. Well, enough of those numbers. Let's see how she will perform in the test over here. Overall, it's pretty a straightforward character, not too difficult to memorize her attacks. Pretty much everything that I just mentioned you can use for the character. And well, her attack style is also, her gameplay style is also really interesting. Now, the animations for this character are also really good. They aren't so long, so you can adjust to the other structures. The evasion length, though, that might require some getting used to. But But let's see, this is the core state, this is the cannon where you can shoot, where you can use the cannon, or actually, I don't know if it's an exact cannon, because it is also called a force hammer, so it can be a force hammer as well. But you can use it as a cannon again, which is really interesting. And so far, our character running really smooth. The combination that you should use is the yellow, blue plus ultimate, which is also easy to memorize. And this is her ultimate, total miss, but it looks really nice. Really good against a group of enemies, and fully geared can be really effective. But in actual combat, while she can be a DPS, she can also be a more effective support, and you will see me using her as a support in pretty much most of the gameplay that I am doing. And if you watch my channel for a very long time, you probably know that I did use the character a lot, and that I use this character a lot, mostly for that QT, and then again effective against mob clearing, really effective against mob clearing. And so far I have been having fun with this character, a really interesting part of the everyday team. And the effects for this character are also really nice. I do enjoy the graphics of this game a lot, as it is kind of obvious. Alright, so that's the ultimate. Now the ultimate might appear not to be that impressive. Her core appears to be the most impressive thing of them all, and I pretty much like their cannon state a lot more than other ultimates in the game. Her core is really useful in some situations, since it gives you the third perspective the third-person perspective that you need sometimes in game, and it's really easy to evade while you are in the core mode, which you'll see me use in the upcoming stages. Well then, time to test her out in actual combat. Will be really interesting to see how she will be used how she will be used as both a DPS and support. Well then, let's jump straight into the testing areas. Now, against the obelisks, you will see me using her to group them up, to pile them up, and then I will use Alpha to deal the most damage. Now in this case, I am using her as a support and as a DPS. It works. You should pop the gravity bomb, and then once the enemies are clumped up together, you switch to Alpha and you take them out all at once with the sword waves or with the ultimate. And that pretty much works with a lot of characters, and with a lot of characters it works with all characters. One of the most important QTs and overall skills is hers. Really useful at Warzone when you want to clump up the enemies at one spot and then take them all out at the same time, which also I was doing and I am doing for a very long time now. And this character so far is the best at that job. Okay, and of course you can rotate the characters if you like, as I did. It works, and you should always rotate them for the maximum effectiveness. And there we go. The last obelisk died. Nice. Okay, time to hop on the next testing stage. And so far, this character is definitely one of those on the high fun factor. You can play her and be effective and have fun at the same time. Of course, the highest fan factor that I have at the moment is with Lucia Dawn. Her ultimate, her skills, and overall the moveset of that character are really nice, and I do enjoy them a lot. Well, this character is also really fun to use, especially in the core mode. When you use the cannon, it is, I think, one of the most fun looking and one of the most satisfying ultimate core modes in the game at the moment. Okay, I missed that one, but I missed that evasion though, and I got hit. One hit here and I am pretty much done for, so I have to be careful. Okay, let's dodge that real quick. There we go, that was nice. Time to launch the ultimate. And as you can see, the moveset of this character is really insane and really quick. And the evasion compared to other characters is there. It is really good. The animation isn't that long. The animation is decently length, and it will not interfere with other characters. So if you're pretty much used to other characters' evasions, this character's evasion will not cause any problems. And unlike other characters, of course, some of the other characters' evasions are kinda longer, and they are fixed. They're getting fixed, which is really nice from the developers. But this character's evasion is right there on spot, highly responsive. That's one thing that I need to mention. Highly responsive, and there is absolutely little to no delay upon evasion, which other characters kind of do have, but it is not that it's not that much of a problem. Okay. Well, I think this will be the final testing area. Yeah, it will be the final testing area, and this will be tests of the evasion again, mostly. And as you can see, so far works really good. Works really good in synchronization with Alpha and her sword waves. It is really satisfying once you activate her gravity bomb and when you start to hit them all at once with Alpha's ultimate or sword wave. That's one of the most satisfying things in the game at the moment. At the moment. Of course, there are also other satisfying things that you can use. Okay, well, that was a really nice evasion, and she recovers the core passive really quickly. By the way, you can activate it via evasion. You can activate it via a free signal combo, which is also really good. And there we go. I will use my sword wave now, and I'll kill one. Then I'll switch to Karen again. There we go. Well, that was a really smooth run. A really smooth run. Well then, I think it's time to hop on some boss battles and to see her performance against bosses. So, against mobs and against multiple mobs, she will be highly effective, and it is recommended that you use her against mobs. And against multiple mobs, you can use her QT and her blue orb to pretty much clump them together, and then you can use other characters to switch in and take them all out at once. Well, for boss battles, you can use her main skills as well, and you can use her in the cannon mode as well against bosses. It works really well. Now, her ultimate is something that will not work against bosses, or it will work, but it won't be that impressive, because her ultimate is mostly built to hit multiple mobs, not to take out a single enemy. To take out the single enemy is mostly with the passive, with the core mode, and with the cannon, since it is focused on a single target. And that's the cannon. The core mode is pretty okay, pretty nice, and it does the job. It gets the job done. Well, against this boss so far is going pretty good, as you can see, and he is dead. There we go. The signals are also really useful against boss battles. They can be useful against multiple mobs and against bosses at the same time, which is also really interesting. It's just that her ultimate doesn't appear to be that effective against bosses. Well then, let's hop on to the Nightmare Ball. And well, against this boss, you can use her to take out the spiders that the Nightmare Ball can launch. Really one thing that she will be definitely good at always is mob clearing, and that includes mobs spawned by bosses, in this case spawned by the Nightmare Ball, which I think it will spawn afterwards when he decides to land. Health wise and overall damage wise, she can take hits. For a attacker type, for a assault structure, she is definitely tankier than the rest. That's something that I will give her. She's definitely tankier than the rest. She can hold out a lot more attacks and a lot more hits than any other assault structure. That's something that I came to when I was playing her. She does not lose that much health when she gets hit compared to characters like Verity or Alpha that can die really quickly with couple of hits, and that's really interesting, and that makes her a really solid starter character, and of course a really solid support and attack at the same time. In my case, I pretty much never used her as a full DPS, mostly because I already had other DPSs. But if you are looking for a fire character or a character for the fire map, for the fire warzone, she is a good addition to the team and will help you a lot, not only in the fire zone, but in all war zones, in all paint catches, also in other mob-oriented fights. She will definitely be of help a lot because of her skills and because of her overall performance against bosses. She is pretty decent in that perspective. Well, the boss is kicking the bucket. Now, one thing that's really interesting is that the ultimate here appears to be doing more damage because of the size of the boss. It's easier to hit him. So maybe in the future, when we have more giant bosses, maybe she will be really useful against bigger enemies. That's out to be seen. And well, against Rosetta, so far I am really happy with the performance of this character. I pretty much didn't expect anything less than what I got. Really smooth character, a fantastic support, really fantastic support in terms of overall usability. You can use her pretty much on any stage you like, and she will be definitely helpful in mob clearing. And in combination with high DPSs like Alpha or Verity, she will be really useful, and you can clear a lot of these harder stages without much of a problem, really. In my case, I use her in Warzone a lot, used to use her in Warzone. You can even watch me live do it when I stream on Monday and Friday, and I do use her in those cases a lot, and I should actually use her a lot more since now I have her fully geared, and so far I am satisfied with her performance. And of course it can only be better once you rank her up to the SS, SSS and SSS plus rank. She is going to get a lot more buffs, which is also pretty nice, really decent, and can help a lot in combat. Okay, well, Rosetta going down slowly. Now her cannon mode, the core passive, the core mode, so I call it, is really good against some bosses when you can focus them down like this. It does really decent damage, and of course the fact that she is a bit tanky, that she is tankier compared to other bosses, makes her a really good and valid choice for a class. Of course, the S class is a different story. That's a attacker class, and of course an S class, which I'll be taking a look at later on once I get her. Well then, time to wrap things up. So, it's a really interesting character to play, really effective, really useful, definitely one of the better supports in the game, and she is also one of the key characters to have in your team in Warzone and stages alike. Well, with that being said, hope you enjoyed. It was my pleasure to play this for you, and as always, I'll see you next time. Take care.